and welcome to Good News Diary. Dear Diary. Okay, Dear Diary listeners, today we're going to talk about coming to the UK. I had given a hint in my previous video, and in this video I'm going to really talk about it extensively. I hope you don't find it boring. I really do hope so. It's been a desire of mine for a very long time. People that know me would know that UK is all that I've been singing about, especially for my master's, for educational purpose. The UK has been one of the countries I have been clamoring about. And it feels good to actually believe in that truth. I would even imagine myself when I'm walking in the streets in Nigeria. I'll be imagining myself, I'll be walking in the streets of London. I was walking one day and I was like, hey, the realization just hit me that I'm actually walking in the streets of London. So the whole journey just made me realize that anything is actually possible. I used to hear that, but living it, experiencing it, I now can say it more with much more confidence that actually anything is possible. Now, when I started this whole process for my UK last year, it was a roller coaster, I won't lie. January last year, this process had started like since 2020. We had a lot of back and forth, so I just closed that chapter. I'm like, I'm not doing it again. And then January 2023, I'm like, I need to take it up. I will take it up. And then I started talking about it again, that I think I really want to travel. This time around, I've made up my mind that I'm traveling. So I called one of my very good friend and I told her, I said, babe, Afa, this year is our year. We must move this year. Both of us actually wanted to come to the UK, but along the line, she went somewhere else. She went to another country. I called her and I was like, this year, babe, we really have to, you know. What do we do? Let's start making inquiries. We became so aggressive with our inquiry. And then we did our online research and all that. Let me say something. You have to be very extensive with your research because no amount of research is too much. Because while you're doing one research, new information is popping in. So you have to always be updated because that was one of the mistakes I made. I wasn't personally always updated about something. So some things hit me like arrow. It was so painful and it was sharp. So you have to always stay updated. For those of you that want to really come to the UK or any other part of the world you want to travel to, you have to stay updated with the information. So we reached out to some agent and luckily for us, we got one and we applied and the application process. See, one sweet thing about the school thing is that application is not even hard. Like, that school would definitely give admission. There's some schools that turned us down. We had so many rejections. Before we got this particular one that approved of us, we had so many rejections. Like you will see. And because I went to school in Benin Republic, Igbe, I had issues. I had lots of issues. Because they believe that the schools in Benin Republic do not really, their certificate is not up to the UK standard. So I had lots of universities saying no to me, like so many universities, even the ones that were really, really affordable, all of them were like, no. And it was painful. It was painful. There's sometimes that we cried. Jesus, it was a roller coaster of emotions. We cried at some point because they know, like one even told us that we can apply, but we'll start from diploma. How do they even put it? And the other one was like, I'm sorry, if you really want to come to our school, you would have to start from undergrad. I'm like, I don't think I'm mentally ready for undergrad. I really want to do my master's, not undergrad. So after all the no, we kept on pushing. We pushed. Then around March, we decided to take it to the Lord in prayer. I've tried in January, no show. February, no show. March, we say, God, it's either you or no one else will do it for us. And then we started praying. We prayed. I personally did 100 days of prayer. So my friend and I also did our own prayers too. We prayed. I think we did it for about 2 weeks or a month. I can't really remember again. But we prayed. Every night we'll meet up, we'll pray with the scriptures because my pastor Bolaji taught us that praying with the scriptures is very effective. We prayed with the scriptures. We prayed our hearts out. It got to some point that we're like, God, you know when you have prayed to the point that there's no prayer points, we just started giving God praise at that point, like, God, this is you. We started reading the Bible to encourage ourselves. And in that period of prayer, we're getting rejections. So what my friend and I did was that we called the rejections love letters. So when I called her, I'm like, babe, have any show? She said, yeah, I just got one love letter like that. Oh. I already know what the love letter meant. And when she asked me, I said, if I got love letter, this themselves they were doing. They are missing out on something very huge or someone very huge, and then we would encourage ourselves like that. And then it clicked one day like that. It just clicked for both of us. And we're like, hey, God, go finally gave us admission. I was excited. I won't lie. I was excited. And after we had gone through the stage of the application process, started applying, they take us back and forth and we'll submit our document and all that. It got to the part where you have to make like a deposit. That first deposit is always, it's not always hard, especially for people that always have it. Well, it was a little bit hard for me to raise that first deposit, but God came through. We were able to make the first deposit. Exchange rate now happened. Like, we had already arranged our proof of funds. And in my mind, I was like, everything is going well. I sent my first bank statement. The school said, we don't like this bank statement. Rejected. I said, reject what? Hey, God of mercy, cannot be happening. They rejected my first bank statement. So it meant that I had to start my proof of funds process from the scratch again. Like, you usually have to leave your money in your account for 28 days. So I had to leave it in my account for another 28 days. And the deadline was on the way. Like, the deadline, I was seeing deadline face to face like this. God, I took it to God in prayer. I said, God, you cannot bring me this far and leave me hanging. You cannot bring me this far and leave me hanging. I called on my father. I said, God, I spoke to my mentor. I said, see what is happening to my mentors. See, have a good support system. In this, my application process, the people that surrounded me, they were already seeing me. Me that is running the application, I was so scared. But the people that surrounded me were already seeing me. My mom would tell me, don't worry, my daughter, you are in UK. My dad would say, there's nothing God cannot do. My aunties will be like, don't worry, God has done it. My mentor will be like, oh goodness me, I'm already seeing you in the UK. It's UK, I'm seeing you now like this. I'm not seeing you in Nigeria again. Like, I'll be like, what? These people is like their fate. Now me they go the country now and I get fate past me. So every time I called my mentor or my parents and said, we have one small setback, they'll be like, don't worry, we'll sort it out. You're definitely going. So that support alone, God, it was everything and more that I needed. So when I called my mentor, I'm like, see what has happened? And I said, see, my mentor is one person that I know that is not bothered about anything. Like, Mr. Uzi. Mr. Uzi is not bothered about anything. He's like, don't worry, God has sorted it out. He was like, Madam. That's why he calls me, Madam. God has done it. So when he told me that, I said, okay, I won't budge. And when I submitted the first one, I got the rejection and I had to start the process all over again. Exchange rate now happened. It got so bad that the ambassador for my school in Nigeria had to call me and say, you need to top up your proof of funds or you pay more than half of the school fees. I'm like, top up from where? Where I want to top up from? Where do I want to top up from? Pay more than half of my school fees. Where I want to see the money from? Can you think how is the money going to come? Because I was already ready. It's not like I was even doing, then I was doing a 9-to-5 job. And it's not like the 9-to-5 job was paying me like $1 million. So that job was not paying me so well. So I was like, where the money want to come from? And then I said, God, I don't know what to do again. No. I don't know. I'm exhausted. I don't know. I'm gotten here. I don't know what to do again. And that was how God did it too. Money came. It shocked you. It shocked me too. When I got the call that, don't worry, we're going to get, we've gotten funds that we can use for. So I think my aunt that called me and said, we've gotten funds that we're going to use for your this thing. Gotten funds, so don't worry, God has done it. I'm like, okay. And that was how in my very eyes, the more than half payment was made. So I had to wait for the 28 days thing to be over before I sent to the school. Do you know what now happened? God did it that the school now extended their deadline. Hey, like when I got an email that the deadline has been extended, I'm like, if this is not God, then it's nobody else. Like, if this is not God, it's nobody else. That was how the deadline was extended. The 8 days now reached now. I now submitted my bank statement and they accepted it. They were like, okay, we see that you're confirmed. We see that you made more than half of the school fees. Blah, 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 blah. I said, God. I was just screaming God. Like, then they booked me for that interview. Cass. interview. That CAS interview, the agent I was working with had already prepared me for most of the questions that I would ask. So the first CAS interview did not hold. My laptop, I didn't have this laptop then. I had one. I was even trying to use my phone. Guys, they robbed me. They robbed me before my CAS interview. My phone gone. They robbed me before my CAS interview. Tell me how you think I must have felt psychologically. They robbed me before my CAS interview. I couldn't even tell my parents that they robbed me. I told my parents that something happened to my phone got spoiled. It was only a few persons that knew that they had robbed me. And so they robbed me. They collected my phone. All my details were there. If not that I had signed into my work phone, I would have missed out on so many information. So I signed into my work phone. My mom asked me, I have fixed your phone. I said, no, I've not fixed it, but I have a work phone I can use. As I used the work phone, they said the camera was not clear, that we should go and reschedule the interview. I said, God, wow. We rescheduled the interview. And it was so close. I didn't reschedule it before so that they will not, this first come, first serve. That was what I was thinking they were going to do. So if they've gotten to their number of students they wanted for that year, they would just cut us off. So I didn't even want to give them any reason to cut my name out. That was how I chose a closer date. And I told my mentor, I said, see what happened now. Man said, you didn't tell me, sis. I could have given you my laptop. I said, I didn't know. And that was how he gave me his laptop. When he gave me his laptop, then I did my CAS interview. The interview was just talking. Meanwhile, I don't see that CAS interview. I watched YouTube video, but I was looking for content on CAS interview. It was only about 2, 3, just few content on how to do. So maybe I'm going to shoot up a content like that on CAS interview. Just very few content as far I saw on it. I started googling. I Google, and I noticed that the people that were majorly talking about this CAS interview thing were the Indians, mostly Indians that were really posting. So I watched those contents. So when the thing came, I was like, Holy Spirit, take the wheel. And as a public speaking coach that I am, public speaker that I am, when they asking me this question, look at me. I was shocked at my responses. I was just giving them the answers. I'm like talking. But I knew that God took the wheel. I didn't even stutter. I was just it only could have been God. So when I finished and they said, oh, thank you, the woman was like, oh, thank you so much, blah, 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 blah. You'll get a response, a feedback from us, an email telling you whether you move on to the next process or not. The waiting process was funny. It was so serious. One day like this, I just got an email. I passed my CAS. I was so excited. I was so overjoyed. I'm like, God, first stage passed. It was now the time to start filling in my CAS shield and all that, blah, blah. Immediately, I started filling my CAS shield. I had some setbacks while filling the CAS shield. But along the line, I finished it and I was waiting for them to eventually send me my CAS. That waiting period was a lot. I was waiting. Finally, I got my CAS. I cried the day I got my CAS. I cried at that. I cried the day I got it. And when I got it, I'm like, hey, God, only you can do what no man can do. I was so overjoyed when I got it. It's like, I'm living the dream. Oh, this dream is becoming a reality. Then after I got my CAS, I called my parents that I got my CAS, and I told my aunts that, family members, all of them that knew about my whole travel process, I told them about it. During this time, my friend had already called me that it had clicked for her. In fact, one of them had called. We now had a phone call from one of them, and she said that she has moved. I was overjoyed for my friend. Like, you have moved. It gave me assurance that I've gotten it. Like, you have moved. You're not even waiting for visa. You have traveled already. I was so overjoyed because I was like, my own's on the way. Before I know, the second person now told me that, especially the one that I was praying with directly, now called me and said, babe, Afa, my visa don't show, I'm moving. I say, the miracle is in the neighborhood. The miracle is in the neighborhood. I kept screaming that the miracle was in the neighborhood. At this point, I was waiting for my visa. I went for my visa interview and everything went smoothly. And they sent me an email that they cannot continue with my visa application because I had some outstanding document. I was like, outstanding document, but I show that outstanding document again. What is happening? Why is this setback? I've reached visa points. They want to give me setback. They say they cannot push on with my process. God. And then my friend, God bless you. I went to church that Sunday, and so I was really down. And then she saw me. That white girl, she can observe. She now saw me say, Goody, what is happening? Me, I'm always the lively person now. So whenever they notice that I'm sad or something, they always know that it's easy to tell that there's something wrong with good news, because when I don't come in my bubbling self, they'll be like, there's something wrong with this girl. But when I come my bubbling self, they always, even so times where I'm even bubbling, I'm going through a lot and they don't know. So that day I couldn't hold it. It was so severe. Then I prayed with me and I got peace in my heart. Like I felt, God, I can really go through this entire process. And the Monday came and I was able to get the outstanding documents. My boss, God bless that woman, she was supportive too, because one of the outstanding documents they needed was also from my current employer. And before, I don't want to tell her that pay the movement. I say no. If I really need to get this thing from her, I have to come out clean. Because I didn't want a situation, but I tell her and it doesn't work out. They will not be laughing at me in the office. They will not say, it's not good, I wanted to travel, good, not travel again. So I was very careful on the people I told, because I wanted a situation, but God forbid if it didn't work out well, I can still raise my head up high and shoulder up high, like, hey. Because if I go, just said, God, since I've already gotten to the visa stage, I think I'll tell her. So I told her about it and she was like, that's fine. That's how my boss sorted out all the documents he needed, gave it to me. I submitted it to the visa office. So one close friend of my aunt that knows about this visa immigration stuff, and then he said that if it was one statement he said that made me realize that the hand of God has not left me yet. He said, if they're asking you for these documents and you do not provide it since, you're providing it now. If they accept it, just know that it's your God though, because normally they will just tell you, they will just deny you straight up, and they have not denied you up till now. He asked me how long has it been. I told him, he said, and they have not denied you. Your God is working though. Like, me too. I said, if they not denied it, that means your God is working for you. So since they've not denied you, find it out and give them as soon as possible. And that's how we got the document. He said, if you have the document this evening, start submitting it. My mentor, God bless my mentor. One of them required him to do some running around, and he did for me, and so that night I got all my documents complete from my employer. There's one that my mentor had standing for me, all of that. So I got everything that night and I submitted it. In fact, I made a mistake while submitting it. God, don't do something when you're tensed. I made a mistake while submitting it the first time. I say, hey, made this mistake, not come make them deny me. Again, what is it? What's wrong with me? Why am I making mistake up and down? So that was how I now finally submitted the whole thing, and it was correct. And they didn't send me any feedback again, and they didn't ask for any other document again. So it was not the waiting process. And Pastor Bolaji prayed one prayer one day. He said, it was first my pastor on Sunday in Bagada. He said, as many of you that are waiting for your visa approval, receive it. It was on a Sunday he declared that thing. This is how God is working though. On Sunday he declared it. This is how God works. On Monday, NLP, Pastor Bolaji say, as many of you that are waiting for as many of you that are waiting for visa approvals, any form of approval, receive your approval. I screamed amen. I think it was on Tuesday. Hey, I just got one email like that. I never understand the email to show you how bad it was that I had received my visa and I didn't even know. I got an email from the visa office and I didn't even understand email. So I had to forward it to my aunt. At least she has been traveling. She's a frequent traveler. She would know about it. And I forwarded it to my mentor. Like, I didn't realize I've been traveling. You know what this email means. What does it mean? Does it mean I have gotten my visa or they are requesting for another outstanding document? My mentor went through. He said, Madam, in UK. I was inside Molo. I was inside bus. There's a bus they call in Lagos called Molo or Yellow Bus. Inside Molo. That's how they just received the message. They just sent me a message. Madam, you're in UK now. Man now said, it's like it's ready. I said, it's like, is it ready? Say it's ready. I can go and pick it up anytime. Picking it up was not a problem. I was not saying, God, should I? Is this real? Is this not real? 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 Is this really? Is this not real? That week. I think it was on a Thursday. It was on the... Okay, I got it on a Wednesday. I remember I was going home that day. I can't remember again. But I know I got it on a Tuesday I think, because I was going home that day from work. I went to pick it up on a Thursday. Yeah, I went to pick it up on a Thursday morning. I can't remember again, but I went because it was the following week that I traveled. So I went to pick it up on a Thursday, I think, in the morning, and I went to visa office that morning to pick it up. Yes, it was on Thursday morning because we're having service that Thursday. This program called Reawakening or something. Yeah, I know we're having the program that week. That was how I went to the visa office to go and pick up my. In fact, I just took excuse and went out from the office. I just told my boss I'll be running late. I have to go and I have an appointment. I want to go and pick up a few items, and she agreed. Brothers and sisters, I went to pick my passport from visa office. And I was so scared of opening it because I still had not accepted and believed that I have actually gotten my visa. And that was how I opened it. And look at me looking at my visa. Hi! Look at me looking at my visa. Look at me looking at my visa. Hey, look at me looking at my visa. I could not scream there. I didn't even make any move. When you're so joyful, like the joy is in your heart, but you're in a place where you cannot express it. I called my aunt. I said, "My kidney has arrived, though." She said, "Shine of grace, shine of grace." But her son, I said, "Don't worry, since my own has come out, son will come out." I think that day or the next day, her son, she went to pick up. They sent her son's own to her because she paid for delivery and all that. But that was how I got my visa, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, that's how I got my visa. And gosh, it felt so good. I went to church that day overjoyed. I called my mentor. I told my mentor, I said, "It don't happen, no." See, it wasn't a surprise to him because he already knew. Like he just said, "Madam, but I told you now." See, this man just pretend that you did not know. Just pretend like I'm just telling you for the first time. Just pretend, sir, pretend. It was a joyful moment. God, I was so overjoyed. That was like the best part of my life. It made me now realize that God is actually intentional about my life. So the bottom line of all these things is that God is intentional. It may not look so, but it is so. Yeah, it wasn't looking like it. Just see, but it just reminded me of Joseph when Joseph went through all those trials and tribulations. Who would have thought that I would be prime minister? Who would have thought that I would be in the UK with all the things that I went through, with all the roller coaster of emotions, getting robbed, losing documents, losing so many things, and I'm still here. I remember that one of the things I told God I wanted for my birthday is that I wanted to celebrate my birthday in a new country. As at the time I was writing that prayer point, I did not know the country was going to be, because I was like, if the UK doesn't work, maybe I'll just plan a vacation and travel abroad for my birthday or something. But I didn't want to do my birthday in Nigeria. I wanted to do my birthday abroad or something. And look at me now, I did my birthday in the UK, and it was the best birthday ever. The best. I've never experienced my birthday in that way in my life. In my life, nobody has shocked me like that in my life. But God did it. God shocked me in a way that I never expected. I can talk, sha. So I don't know whatever you think is impossible this 2024. It's not impossible. It might not happen the way you imagined it to be. It might not happen the way you want it to be, but it will definitely happen the way God has designed it to happen, and that's the best feeling ever. How I struggled and went through a lot of things to get to the UK. When I got to the UK, God came through for me in so many ways that I cannot even imagine, and He's still going to come through for me. So in this 2024, no grief for anybody, no grief for the devil. Don't allow the devil to tell you otherwise. This is the year that the Lord has made, and you will rejoice and be glad in it. God is intentional about your life. As I'm telling you this now, I'm also telling myself, I'm also reminding myself that only God is intentional about your life. And that's on period. Thank you. I want to talk. Thank you guys for listening. I am so honored that you can pay attention to this for this long. I hope I've been able to convince you, not confuse you, that God is intentional about your life. See you in the next videos. Bye. I love you guys. Mwah. Bye.